from the News Channel 5 Network. This is OpenLine.
Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Levil Ismail. We're here with OpenLine, and tonight we're talking a little bit about boating safety, but also outdoor safety. Obviously, you know, this is that time of year. It's summer. Everyone wants to be outside. They want to enjoy the water. They want to enjoy just, you know, maybe not so much the heat at this point, but, you know, you still want to be able to get outdoors when you can. And so tonight we're talking with Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency and, you know, some of those folks out there that can, you know, offer some tips and guidance on things you probably should avoid doing, and you know how you can do things safely while you're outdoors. And so, you know, tonight's guest, we have Sergeant Nathan Karch and Clay Hetland, Officer Clay Hetland with TWRA. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Glad to be here.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
And so we have the phone number there, so you can call in with pretty much any questions that you might have about, you know, maybe it's boating related, maybe it's just outdoor related, you know, but first and foremost, I do want to ask you guys a little bit about, you know, why we're here today. I mean, obviously, like I said earlier, you know, people want to get outside. People want to get outdoors and enjoy what they can enjoy. Obviously, the heat is kind of getting in the way right now, but, you know, people do want to be on the waters. They do want to take their boats out. And so what would you say are some of the first things that they should keep in mind when doing so?
So, in regards to Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, our main priority is keeping people safe. We want people to have fun, but we want to keep people safe. And that's what we're out there doing. Enforcing the laws particular to boating and being on the lake is just keeping people safe. So my number one thing would be take any precaution necessary, you think is necessary in order to stay safe on the water. And we can get into specific regulations or specific ways to do that. But safety, without a doubt, is number one.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm assuming same thing for you as well, Clay.
I would reiterate that as well, the same things, but making sure that everybody has a life jacket that fits, U.S. Coast Guard approved, and they're comfortable in that. Setting a good example for your friends and family, because if you wear that life jacket, more than likely you're going to be that positive influence that your friends and family are going to see you wearing that, and they're going to wear that life jacket. It will save your life. And then knowing your waterways, doing a little bit of research beforehand before you hit the water, knowing the depths in certain areas and obstacles or obstructions to avoid, certain highly trafficked areas and things like that. So maybe downloading Navionics on your phone, which is a good GPS chart and basically a navigation system that you can have right there at your fingertips to show you any obstructions and the main channel and all that on your waterways. So those are two big things that really help out for new boaters.
You know, one of the things that really stood out to me when I was just looking at some articles relating to, you know, some boating accidents that we've seen. You know, obviously, it's never a good thing to hear about these things happening in the waterways. But one thing I noticed is that almost entirely, all of the cases are dealing with someone who was not wearing a life vest or not wearing a life preserver. And so it just goes to what you just mentioned about the importance of that. That was one of the first things you said. But why do you think there's so much hesitation behind just wearing this very important piece of material?
I think just, you know, it limits your mobility. It's hot, you know, whenever we're out there on the water, it's the sun is beating down. The perfect day out on the water is going to be a really hot day, and you know, you want to be out there, get a good tan and everything. So it's by nature inherently very hot and restrictive. So, and I think a lot of people are honestly out there to maybe, you know, show off their summer bodies and everything like that. So you can't do that with a life jacket on. So there's a lot of things and factors that play a role in that with people not wearing it. And a lot of times they're uncomfortable. If you just get the generic orange ones, people don't want to wear those. They want something very comfortable. So if you spend a little extra money on something that fits perfectly and that you're very comfortable with, I think people will, you know, wear them a lot more. And just being a good role model and set that example for your friends and family, that really helps out as well.
Definitely. You know, this is I know that there might be a lot of very experienced boaters out there that might say, you know what, this is common knowledge. We understand you need the life vests and you need the life preservers. But, you know, from my experience, and I've only been in the Nashville, Tennessee area for so long, but, you know, there are a lot of people who will go renting boats. You know, they'll pick up the boat and they may have someone who has driven a boat before once in their life. And now that person is in charge of everybody. Now, how do we get that message across to the folks who may end up behind the wheel, but they're not nearly as experienced as some of the others might be?
So in regards to rental boats, there was a law passed in General Assembly that you, as a rental company, have to provide a safety message to the person who will be operating that vessel and all the passengers. And that safety message goes over where the life jackets are on the boat, where any of the safety equipment is, the throwable cushion if anyone goes in the water and needs assistance, the sound signaling devices, the light switches for the navigation lights. All those things are supposed to be gone over with the operator as well as the passengers. And that takes the place of the boating license for those operators. But that is not required for somebody who does have a boating education certificate, which is a boating license, or anyone born prior to January 1st of 1989. In the state of Tennessee, you do not have to have the boating education certificate if you're born prior to January 1st of 1989, but you do have to have it to operate a motorized vessel if you were born January 1st of 1989 or after. So these rental companies, it's really on them a lot to put a really good safety message out and let everybody know where those things are. And I can speak personally for Percy Priest Lake. Our rental companies are great in doing that. When I stop a vessel, a rental vessel, they know where everything is, and they're very familiar with what happens on the lake. So they do a good job of doing that. It just takes the accountability once you leave that marina on yourself to obviously keep everyone safe if you are the operator.
You know, this is, you know, I feel like this is as timely as it can be for us to talk about boating safety, but also, you know, just being outside right now. It feels like, you know, you're walking through just a sauna every time you step outside those doors. And I think, you know, you guys might be able to speak to some of the risks involved by being outside for too long without taking the necessary precautions. Now, I mean, for either one of you, what's something that comes to mind immediately when you think of, you know, some of the mistakes, the common mistakes that people might be making?
Too much drinking.
Well, there you go.
I think people, drink in excess. You know, that with the environmental factors compounding those effects, it really, man, it'll make you impaired a lot quicker, and I guess a lot more overall, just with the sun beating down, the waves, loud noises, engine noises, and things of that nature. So maybe not drinking as much, because in turn with these hot temperatures, you're going to get much more dehydrated. You need to drink lots of water and seek shade, get in the water, cool down, and stuff like that.
Sergeant Karch?
We see a lot of flushed faces and sunburnt people later in the afternoon. In regards to that, they do choose the alcoholic beverages over the water a lot of times. And just speaking on that, we have approximately 55 boating under the influence arrests in the state of Tennessee so far this year. Last year we had approximately 72. So we're seeing them out there and we're catching them. Unfortunately, it does look like we're probably going to surpass that 72 number this year, which is good and bad, because we are catching the individuals that are impaired on the waterways. We would prefer that number obviously to be a lot less, meaning people are choosing to be responsible and to not drink alcohol or use drugs on the waterways.
Okay.
But we are proactive. We're seeing boating under the influence, speaking off of what Sergeant Karch was talking about.
And we'll talk a little bit more about boating under the influence when we get back from break. We'll see you soon.